Joshua is a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science teacher at Center City Public Charter School, the Brightwood campus. He began his tenure at Center City and his career as an educator through Teach for America. Since then, he has served years as the middle school science lead and summer academy principal. Joshua received the Youth Service America Harris Wofford Award for National Young Educator of the Year and Teacher Leader of the Year award from the D.C. Association of Charter Public Schools. This year, Joshua began consulting with Achieve Incorporated to support in the creation of state content model frameworks from the next generation science standards. He graduated cum laude with a bachelor's degree in chemistry from St. Lawrence University and earned a master's degree in teaching with a science focus from American University. Follow him on Twitter at Mr. J. Tweeter.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for tuning in today to the webinar. I'm really excited to hear, like Katie just said, the perspectives from other great leaders in this field and hear about the other great things going on. And I'll share a little bit about my story working with Youth Service America and then also incorporating practices to making a sustainable Global Youth Service Day project. So the first piece I wanted to talk about is thinking about a sustainable project design in 3 Ps. The first part I wanted to think about sustainably when I created the project that I was in charge of is how to plan sustainably. The project that we came up with at my school is called the Sustainable Scholars Program. We chose that name specifically for environmental sustainability, but I think it's become a great omen as the project has also become sustainable, so we've been able to implement year after year. I think an important thing to when you choose a project is thinking about it as a multi-phase project. That every year you're not going to be able to complete every single thing you want to do, whether it's a long-term project or for one day for Global Youth Service Day. So I've really tried to think of my project as a multi-phase project. The first year that we started implementing it with support from Youth Service America, we built 2 garden beds in the back of the school to provide sustainable farmed vegetables to a next-door women's shelter. The following year, we added a small greenhouse to this area and community. The year after that, we added sustainable irrigation through rain barrels. And then last year, we added an outdoor classroom so students could use this space academically to build service into the curriculum as an essential component. The second P for purchase is something that I think is really important. I received some financial support from Youth Service America in beginning this project, and it allowed me some of the seed funding in order to make purchases that we could use year after year after year, including things like some power tools or shovels, things that don't go bad after 1 year. So thinking about using your funding in reusable materials allows your project to be continued year after year. Then we only need to really purchase some seeds to make sure that we can continue this project the next year and build into this space. Tomorrow we'll be adding some fig trees to the area that you see behind, and those were donated for free from a local organization. The third P in my sustainable project idea is to publicize it to as many people as possible. Global Youth Service Day to me is really a celebration of service. I have consistently included 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in what Youth Service America has called a semester of service. So we infuse academic content along with service practices. But Global Youth Service Day is an event that I open to the entire school, kindergarten through 8th grade, to allow as many people as that want to come out to celebrate science and celebrate service in a really exciting way. Things that I wanted to share with the group about when you're preparing for an event is not just to think of it as a singular day. There's a lot that comes before the event of Global Youth Service Day, during, and after. The picture you can see here is one of the days that we had, including all sorts of students, lots of different teachers, community members, and AmeriCorps volunteers. In order to prepare for that event, a lot of thought had to go into the logistics, thinking about what materials were necessary, what people were going to attend the event, logistics such as permission slips, and then just making sure that everything was running smoothly. During the event, one of the things that I think is most important to relay if you're thinking about planning a Global Youth Service Day event is to designate someone as an operations director or a logistics facilitator that can really manage the entire day. This person might not be the person who gets their hands dirty and digs in the dirt, but it's important to have someone available to make sure everyone's where they need to be and all of the parts of the project are getting done as successfully as possible. And then I also want to echo what Katie said moments ago, to include reflection in the process, because that's the only way that you can then improve your project to the next year. So after the event is over, we've always sat down with the students and other people involved in the project to think of ways to, one, celebrate and get excited about helping our community, and then build ways to make next year even better than the year before. I think the more invested students get is because that they get to choose the project and they get to make it better every year. And then finally, a few lessons that I've learned over the past 5 years is that there can never be too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. I think the more people that can be involved in a Global Youth Service Day project, a semester of service, a service year, the better. Because then there's more brains working on the project, more thoughtful ideas, more creativity gets added so that the project can be better each year. Secondly, I'm a huge proponent of including service in learning. I always try to align the academic skills that we're working on, whether it's germination or pollination, greenhouse gases, whatever we're speaking about, and how we can tie that to the garden and the community around us so that students don't see this as something that's insular. They can really take science and service and apply it to their everyday lives. Like I mentioned on the previous slide, I think planning, executing, and reflecting should not be a one-day task. Those things involve a lot of energy and a lot of effort from multiple people, so you should really think of this in terms of longevity as opposed to preparing for a single day. Student or participant input is critical. I think if someone approaches this as the leader, it doesn't engage the participants as much as possible. If you allow and really act as more of a facilitator as opposed to a leader in the project, it allows the kids or the participants to create the project like they want to. And then the last thing I would just say is that Global Youth Service Day is a lot of fun. It involves a lot of work, but I think the more fun you have with it, the easier it is to make it sustainable and create the sequel to your project, because you're going to want to keep doing it every single year. To conclude, I just want to say that I've utilized a few resources from YSA. The most important one that I've used in my classroom is called Classrooms with a Cause. It's a fantastic resource that's available for free on the Youth Service America website, and it gives you tons of worksheets, brainstorming sheets, and a curriculum that can walk you through planning a project, whether it's one day long or a whole year long. So I would say definitely check that out. And then the final thing that I would recommend is thinking about the 4 C's in relationship to planning your project, especially if you're an educator. So thinking about how you can incorporate communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity to allow the participants to build those 21st century skills to prepare them for college, careers, and beyond. Thanks so much for listening, and feel free to tweet any questions if there isn't something that I answered for you here on the webcast.